Welcome to Kautilya Career. I am Srinivasulu, lecturer in history. I will teach history for the group 1 mains to you. So today we will try to understand in general what is history, especially Indian history, and especially in what way that we have to discuss or in what way we have to prepare for group 1 services in Indian history as well as AP history, that is history of Andhra Pradesh. First of all, we'll try to understand about history. What is history? Of course, for the prelims you might have studied, you might have a little idea about the history. Even then, in brief, we'll try to understand what is history and what are the important components in the history that we have to study. So you know very well, history is nothing but studying about all the aspects that are related to the human beings from the birth of the human being till to the past minute. And at the same time, we need many sources to study about the history, because without the sources we cannot study about the past. That means if you want to study about a little period of 2 years or 3 years or 5 years, many books that we have, at the same time even newspapers, magazines, etc., many things that we have to study about that one particular event or about the different events of that particular period about whom that we are going to discuss. But at the same time, history, I told you that it is the record of past events of the human beings from the birth of the man, means some thousands of years or more than 1 lakh years of period that we have to study. At the same time, in the beginning of the human being's career, he did not know to read and write, but he left something to study about him, that we say as archaeological sources. So in such a way, history can be studied with the help of different sources, which can be classified into two sources. One is archaeological source, which also can be called as unwritten source, because they are not so written. They are the tools, they are the things which are left over by the bygone people. And another is literary sources, or called as written sources. But at the same time, what are the things that generally we study in the history? I told you that all the aspects that are related to the human beings, that means social aspects of the human beings, in which way that he formulated a family system, he formulated into society, what are the different rules and regulations that he followed in the society through the different ages and all. Then to control this society, he wanted to have a political system, so we'll study about the political issues. Then to have a comfortable life, economy is needed, so economic issues of the human beings also we study. Then as he was developing socially, economically, politically, cultural events were also added to him, so we study about the culture of the human beings also. So in general, we study about the social, economical, political and cultural issues of the human beings of the past in the sense till to the past minute. Now to study about all these things, I told you that we have literary sources as well as we have archaeological sources. What were literary sources? The books that were written by bygone people or the people of that particular period. As we have to study about an ancient period, most of the ancient literature was done in the name of a religion. That means religious sources were there. At the same time, as man's civilization was improving, even cultural books were also written, or some political issues were also written, or to say simply non-religious books were also written. So these religious sources we can classify into two kinds, as religious literary sources and secular religious sources. So religious source, the written sources are of two kinds. One is religious source, another is secular source. Religious written sources in the sense, the books which are written in the name of the religion. Sir, how far they are useful for us to study about the history of the past? So here, though they wrote about a religion, there are many people who are involved, and at the same time in the religion, in the name of the religion, they wrote a story. In the name of the story, or in that story, they wrote about different events. For example, we have two epics. Of course, the earliest religious source what we have in this country are Vedas. These Vedas tell about the lifestyle of Aryans. So if we study about the Vedas and Vedic literature, we can know about the social, economical, political conditions of the Vedic people or Aryans. Then we have two epics. What are two epics? Ramayana and Mahabharata. Whether Rama is true or not, it doesn't matter for us. But if Valmiki was not there, we cannot have Ramayana. So if you study about the Ramayana, we can know about the social, economical, geographical, political and social conditions of the Valmiki period. So how the family system during the period of Valmiki, or about the society what that Valmiki saw. And at the same time, what were the economic conditions? What were the political conditions? In what way the king did the duty? In what way the family, father did the duties, elder son did the duties? What was the relation between the parents and the children? What were the duties between the wife and husband? In such a way, many things that we know about the period about the Valmiki. Same when you study about the Mahabharata, we can know about the political, economical, social, cultural issues of the period of the person who wrote the Mahabharata, who wrote Vedavyasa. So the period of Vedavyasa we can understand by seeing the Mahabharata. In such a way, many other religious books were also there. Many Puranas were there. Astadasha Puranas were also there. Even such Puranas are also giving the information about a particular religion or about the god about whom that they wrote. They also gave some information about some rulers about whom that writer he knows. For example, through the Puranas only we can know about the genealogy, or we can know about many issues about the Guptas, even Satavahanas, etc., etc., etc. So in such a way, Puranas are helping us in knowing about history also. So written sources that we have. Secular sources in the sense they wrote about a particular event, or sometimes even directly they wrote about history. For example, Kalhana wrote a book called Rajatarangini. That Rajatarangini giving many issues or much information about the rulers who ruled the Kashmir region. Since from the ancient period to Kalhana's period, that is in the medieval period, he gave the information about many dynasties that they ruled the Kashmir region. For example, Vishakadatta's Mudra Rakshasam, it is giving about the period of Mauryas. And during the period of Maurya also, Kautilya wrote Ardhashastra. This Ardhashastra did not discuss about only economics. Generally we feel that Ardhashastra is nothing but economics. No, it says about the political, economical, social, other conditions of the Mauryan period, where even he said about the duties of the king, he said about the duties of the ministers, he said about the social conditions of the society and all. In such a way, many issues, many things about the Mauryan period that we can come across if we go through Ardhashastra written by Kautilya. In such a way, many written sources also we have, both secular as well as religious. At the same time, some foreign writers also they came to our country. So basically we can divide the written sources into two kinds, as Indian sources and foreign sources. So in the foreign sources, generally we may not see the exaggeration, because if I am writing about a history of a particular ruler, for example, Vidyanatha wrote Prataparudra Yasobhushanam. Of course, exaggeration is there or not, it doesn't matter. What I mean to say that if a particular writer writing about the period of a king, he may write about the extra things, or he may exaggerate the qualities of the king. Though king may not be brave, he writes that our king was so brave and all. Though king may not have very good qualities, he may write that our king is so great and all, because he wanted to please the king. That type of exaggeration we may not see if a book which is written by a foreign writer. So we have to take the sources of even foreign writers also. For example, Fa Hian, Huyan Sang, or even European writers like Marco Polo and all. These are all the people who visited our country. While visiting this country, they all wrote many books in which they mention about the conditions that they saw there in this country. So in such a way, foreign writers' books were also there, and Indian writers' books were also there. Religious sources also we have, secular sources also we have. These are all we have to combine together, and we have to study about the history. And in the archaeological sources, We have different kinds at all. Different archaeological sources we have. One is inscriptions we have. Of course, in inscription, some written material will be there, but we'll take it as an archaeological source as a material where the actual incident and the first, particular information that we can get with this means whatever the donation that the king made, he made that he write in an inscription. The victory what he got over a king, that was also he mentioned. For example, the victories of Samudragupta were mentioned in Allahabad pillar inscription. Victories of Pulakeshitu of Badami Chalukyas, he mentioned in Aihole inscription. In such a way, many inscriptions are there which mention about the victories of the king. Of course, regarding the donations, as just now I told you, many inscriptions that we have in this country which mentioned about the kings. And the taxation what he imposed on the people, or relaxation of the taxation what he made. These are all that they mentioned in the inscriptions of that. So they are all helping us to know about that particular period. And at the same time, another source what we have as an archaeological source, monuments. Regarding the monuments, we can know the style of living of the people, in what type of houses they lived. For example, we are able to say Indus Valley civilization or Harappan civilization as an urbanized civilization. It is all we can say only by seeing the monuments, how they built. So by seeing the structure of the monuments, the system of the construction, what they followed, we are able to say that Harappan civilization is not a rural civilization, but it is an urban civilization. Of course, other many things also we can come across with monuments. For example, if it is a religious monument, we can say what type of religious that the rulers they followed, or mostly people they followed. For example, if you see a Chaitya, which is a prayer hall of the Buddhists, we can say that the people of that particular period, they gave much importance for the Chaitya. I mean to say that if in a particular period, more than the temples, if we see Chaityas, stupas, etc., we can understand that the people or the rulers of that particular period, they gave much importance for the Buddhism, but not to the other religions. Of course, they might have the religious toleration, they might have constructed their monuments also might be there. So the type of constructions what they have as the civil monuments, or as the political monuments, what I mean to say that the fortification and all, or religious monuments, in what way they constructed and all, these are also that we can know. For example, we know that in our country, when you talk about the religious monuments of Vedic religion or Hinduism, what we say, we can say that there are three types of monuments, or three types of monumental style or architectural style that we have. One is Nagara type of temple architecture in the northern part of the country. Southern type of architecture is Dravidian architecture. In the central part, we can see Vaisra type of architecture. Such a differences in the construction of the monuments also, or constructions also, we can know through the monuments what they have constructed. The third is coins. Even coins also will give much information for us. Coins can give, coins also give much information. What information that we can give? One is basing upon the metal what they have used for making the coins, we can know the economic conditions of that particular period. Then by seeing the legend what was written on the coin, we can know the social conditions of that. By seeing the figures what they have engraved on that coin, for example, in some of the Gupta period, the gods and goddesses whom they worshipped, they have printed on one side. Of course, the rulers who issued, their figures were also they printed on other side. So we can know the dressing system of the king who released that coin. At the same time, we can know about the gods and goddesses whom were popular in that particular period. So in such a religion we can know. By seeing the dress, we can know the social conditions. And even by seeing the legend, we can know what type of education that they had, what language they had, or what script that they had. And by seeing the metal, we are able to say that these people are what condition economically that they had. For example, in the Fide period, we see many gold coins. We can understand that they were of very rich. As we know, during the period of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he issued copper coins instead of gold and silver coins because there was a scarcity of gold during his period. Such a conditions also that we can know by seeing the coins and all. So coins help us to know about the economic, social, religious conditions of a particular country. At the same time, by seeing the availability of coins in the particular areas, even we can say the boundaries of the rulers who issued these coins. and at the same time sometimes even we can know the economic relations with this country with whom that they had. For example, in Tamil Nadu, in Arkamedu and such other areas, we saw many Roman coins of the ancient period. That means during that ancient period, Indians had commercial contacts even with the Romans. So such a type of things that we can know even by seeing the coins also. Then at the same time, other tools, while they have used these tools, it may be pot, it may be a plate, or it may be a knife, it may be arrow and all. Through this also, their lifestyle also we can know. For example, by seeing the tools what were used only, we have classified the prehistoric period into three kinds as Paleolithic period, Mesolithic period and Neolithic period. So in such a way, by seeing the tools what they have used, we can know about the lifestyle of the human beings. By seeing these changes in the tools, we are able to say the gradual development of the human being in the past, especially in the prehistoric period. Then the lifestyle, what type of cloth that they used, or what type of pottery that they used, what type of metals that they have used. These are all the things that we can know by seeing the tools. One more thing that we have, they are called as sculptures. Even sculptures are also help us to know about the economical, social and religious conditions of the particular dynasty in which that these sculptures are engraved. For example, if you see the sculptures of the Kakatiya period, they are so rich ornamental. Every sculpture which you can see about the Kakatiya period, they'll have more ornaments. Even if you see the Nandi in front of a Shiva temple, also will have more ornaments. And even human figures also, if you see on the temples of the Kakatiya temples, they were richly carved, richly ornamented also. So by seeing the ornaments which we can see more than that of the class which they wore, we can ably say that the people of Kakatiya period are very prosperous. Because they have the prosperity, Alauddin Khilji or later Muhammad bin Tughlaq, they invaded on Kakatiya's period. So such a conditions also we can see by seeing the sculptures that. And even the social conditions also, the dressing system what they wore, we can know. If you see the sculptures of the Kakatiya period or Gupta period or Chalukyan period or other periods at all, you can't see a jean pant or the shirt and all, because that type of dressing that they did not have at that time. So the dressing system what they have during that period, they can know. And even you may believe or may not, different hairstyles of the women also that you can understand by seeing these sculptures. If you see the sculptures in the Hoysala temples of Halebedu, Belur and all, different types of hairstyles that you can see on only one particular temple. That means women of that particular period, they have different kinds of the hairstyles also. So by seeing the ornaments, we are able to say the economic conditions. By seeing the dressing system and all social conditions that we are seeing, and at the same time by seeing the main deity statues and all, or the god statue and all, religious conditions also we can see. If there are more Shiva idols, or the idols of the related to Shiva's family, that means I mean to say that Ganesha, Subramanya Swami, Parvati, Durga, etc., we can say that the people of that particular period mostly they followed Shaivism. Or if it of Rama, Krishna, Narasimha, etc., we can say that they followed Vaishnavism. In such a way, sculptures also can say about the social, economical and religious conditions of one particular period in which that they were engraved and all. So in such a way, to study about the history, we have many sources and all. Basically, history is classified into two periods. One is prehistory, another is history. Prehistory is that in a period in which that if you do not have any literary sources, it is called as prehistory. Just now I told you that many archaeological sources are there except inscriptions. These are all help us in studying about the prehistory. So prehistory is a period in which we do not have any literary sources. And history is that in which you have written sources. It may be religious source, it may be secular source. It may be a foreign book, it may be Indianized book. So such a way, many books that we have. And one more period that we have in our country, which is called proto-history, with which our syllabus of mains of group 1 starts. That is proto-history. Proto-history means the first history. Of course, it is the first period for our group's main syllabus also. Indus Valley civilization or Harappan civilization in our Indian history is considered as the first period of Indian history. If we study or if we prepare for this Indus Valley civilization, what are the topics in which that we have to concentrate? First of all, as it is the first period of Indian history, we have to see whom that they built, who are the people that have started this civilization or this culture. There are of different opinions. Some are said that they are Indians only, some they said that no, they are of Sumerians or other foreigners. Who were that people? They said these different opinions and all, about which that we have to concentrate to write about the introduction for this chapter. Then what are the salient features of this Indus Valley civilization? A question may be asked. So there in the salient features in the sense social conditions, economic conditions, religious conditions and political conditions we have to study. Nowadays, one thing I wanted to say that generally in the history, now the questions are being asked about mainly about the social, economical and cultural conditions. They are concentrating on that because the person who is going to become as an administrative officer, he must know about the history, no doubt. In the history, he should know about the lifestyle of the people of the past so that he can decide about the lifestyle of the present scenario. So unless you know about the past, he cannot correct the mistakes what are there in the present society, or he cannot help for the people of the present society in developing the Indian society and all. So you must know about the past. So leave about the person or personalities. Of course, they are very important for us. Like the personalities like Krishnadevaraya or Ashoka and all. We study definitely about such a people and the policies what they followed or the reformations what they did or in what way they contributed for the development of Indian society or Indian culture or cultural matters and all. But at the same time, mainly about the group of this country or about the people of a society or people of different societies that we have to study here. So here we have to study the social conditions of this society, economic conditions of this society, religious conditions of this society and all. But at the same time, just now I told you that it is proto-history. What do you mean by proto-history? It is proto-history because it has literary sources. The period in which if we have the literary sources, I told you that it is called as history. But here, though we have literary sources, as we are unable to read this syllabus, this script what it is kept as proto-history. In future, if it is read or if people are able to read the script what is there here, it automatically can called as history. There will be no proto-history if we are able to read the script of the Indus Valley civilization. So leave about the script because we are unable to read the script. Then what are the other sources that we have to study about these people? So there just now as I told you, monuments what they have constructed we have, through which we are able to say that it is urbanized civilization. Of course, while discussing about the civilization, we will discuss about the various monuments and all, that is different. But by seeing the monuments, we are able to say that this period can be called as an urbanized civilization. And at the same time, about other things, the pottery that we saw, the sculptures we saw, or other tools and all, even some seals that we saw, where some figures were there, as well as even script and all we saw. Even by seeing a figure on a seal, we are able to say that these people have worshipped Pashupati as their god. By seeing a dancing doll, we are able to say that these people, they know the music. When they know the music, we are able to say that they have the music also. I mean, dance also. When they have dance is there, music is also there. In such a way, many sources that we have to take. By taking the source, we have to build up the history of them, where we have to study social, economical, political and all. And here one thing is that when did this civilization start? For the origin, different dates are there, but at the same time it has collapsed, it has ended, it was declined by 1750 BC. So roughly 2300 years BC it was started. Of course, there are different dates here. So roughly, if it is from 2300 years BC, it was started and completed by 1750. There is completion, end for this civilization. Why it was ended? Here also a question can be asked. That means, what are the salient features of the Indus Valley civilization that may ask generally? How did it develop? And what are the reasons for the end of this civilization? Why it is declined? So the causes for the decline of Indus Valley civilization also they may be asked. At the same time, is it totally declined? Is it not at all related to the present society? If any relation is there to the Indian society with Indus Valley civilization, what relations that it has. For example, a small relation. Just now I told you that they worshipped Pashupati. Whom was Pashupati? Pashupati was considered by the historians as Mahadeva or Rudra. Even now people are worshipping Rudra. So there is relation with the Indus Valley civilization to the present people. At the same time, people of Indus Valley, they worshipped Mother Goddess. Even now we are worshipping the Mother Goddess. Of course, in the name of different names like Poshamma, Maisamma or Gangaramma, etc. Whatever the name it may be, in whichever reason it might be, people of this country still worshipping Mother Goddess in the different names. So Indus Valley civilization is still continuing, or the impact of Indus Valley civilization still can be seen in Indian society. So in such a way, this question can be asked: how it was started, what were the causes for the decline of this civilization, it has shown impact on Indian society, can it be now seen or not? In such a way, a question can be asked about the Indus Valley civilization. Who next after the Indus Valley civilization? Aryans. We'll do one thing. I'll write what are the important periods there in the in Indian history, and what are the important topics, and in what way they can be asked. Just now I told you that Indus Valley civilization I wrote, then Aryans. We'll study about the Aryans. After the Aryans, it was continued up to 6th century BC or 6th century BC, before to Common Era. In 6th century BC is very important period in which religious revolution that took place in the country, political changes that took place in this country, even economic changes also that took place in the country. Combinedly, it has shown lot of impact on Indian society. So to study about the history of ancient period of this country, 6th century BC is very important. Even the questions also can be asked about the 6th century BC. In 6th century BC, when you study about the Aryans, there are of two periods. One is early Aryan period, which also called as early Vedic period, or in early Vedic period, Rig Veda is the first Veda, so this period also can be called as a Rig Vedic period. Then the remaining period is called as later Vedic period. This later Vedic period was continued up to 6th century BC, in which people are revolted against the social conditions that were there in the later Vedic period, or in general about Aryan society. Or the religious conditions what were there in the Aryan period or up to 6th century BC were not acceptable for some people of in the same section. So they revolted. Or when you talk about the political conditions in the early Vedic period, there were very small kingdoms. And these small kingdoms by the time of later Vedic period were increased. These small kingdoms were called as Janapadas. And these Janapadas by the time of later Vedic period became as Mahajanapadas. So I mean to say that political changes were also took place. By the time of beginning of early Vedic period, there were small kingdoms. By the time of later Vedic period, big kingdoms were established, which were called as Mahajanapadas. So there also the Mahajanapadas kings, they did not satisfy with such a enlarged kingdom, or the kingdom which was increased, size of the kingdom which he increased, he wanted to get more and more. So frequent wars were there between these Mahajanapadas to Mahajanapadas. That political conditions also we can study. Then in the society also, domination of one particular caste was seen on the remaining caste, for which the remaining social sections were not ready to accept that domination. They wanted to have the equal status with that particular caste. Especially in the religion also, religion has become very costly, and religious rituals also became very difficult. And for some sections of people, they did not allow to perform those religious rituals and all. So the people of that particular period, they wanted to have a simple religion which should be acceptable for all the people. As a result, many religious movements were took place, and two religions were born here. They were Buddhism and Jainism. So even the questions can be asked on Buddhism and Jainism also. Regarding the 6th century BC, just now I told you that political and the political issues also a question can be asked. I mean to say that 16 Mahajanapadas were there, I told you. In these 16 Mahajanapadas, Magadha became as most powerful. So what were the conditions helped to Magadha to become a so powerful kingdom? That we had asked. And who were the rulers in the 6th century BC? What were their importance? In what way they worked for the development of Magadha Empire or Magadha Mahajanapada into an empire and all. So regarding the Magadha, a question can be asked in the 6th century BC. Then regarding the social conditions of that period also can be asked, and more importantly, religious conditions of the 6th century BC that they can ask, where two religions were arised or existed or formulated, called Buddhism and Jainism. So in the Buddhism also a question can be asked, who was the founder of the Buddhism? Of course we know Lord Buddha. Then what were his teachings? In what way they were away from the existing society called Vedic society? In what way it has shown its impact on the existing society? So impact of the Buddhism on Indian society, a question can be asked along with the teachings of Buddha. So what were the principles of Buddhism and what impact that Buddhism has shown on Indian society? Such a question can be asked. Regarding the Jainism, so here also the same question, who were the Tirthankara of Jainism, or who was the founder of Jainism, or who made Jainism so popular? What were the importance of the Jainism or important teachings of the Jainism? Then did it also show its impact over the Indian society or not? In what way the question can be asked. And at the same time, just I told you that in cultural matters are more important that they are asking in nowadays question papers and all. And in the cultural matters, we have to study about the language of a particular country or a particular period. At the same time, the arts, fine arts. In the fine arts, we have to study the sculpture, painting, dance, music, etc., etc. And even architecture also we have to study. And Buddhism is such a period which encouraged for the fine arts as well as the architecture also. So art and architecture was also developed by Buddhism or the people who popularized the Buddhism. For example, Ashoka was the person who adopted the Buddhism. As he adopted the Buddhism, he wanted to patronize the Buddhism. He wanted to popularize Buddhism. Yes, he did that. And at the same time, to popularize the Buddhism, even architecture also that he encouraged. So what type of encouragement that Buddhism gave for the art and architecture here? Especially painting was developed by Buddhists and architecture was also developed by Buddhists. And in Buddhism, religious architecture was first developed in this country by Buddhists. I mean to say that even before the Buddhism also, a little bit religious architecture might be there in the country, but it has given a tough competition for the Hindus or to Vedic people of Vedic religion to migrate into Buddhism. It has attracted not only the, for example, I told you that language. It has given much importance for the language also. So far, Vedic religion was very tough to the common people to follow that, whereas Buddhism attracted all the people. It made very simple. As religion was very simple, people were migrating towards the Buddhism. The language what was used by the Hindu scholars was Sanskrit, whereas common people did not know about the language Sanskrit. So what here Buddhists they did was common people's language like Pali or Prakrit that they used it, so that common people were also now able to understand about the Buddhism. So it has given chance for the development of different local languages or the regional languages. Language was developed here. And at the same time, to popularize the Buddhism, they wrote many religious books also, like Tripitakas and all, many books that they have written. So literature also that Buddhism encouraged. By seeing this encouragement what Buddhists are giving for the literature, other Hindu rulers or Hindu followers also, they have followed that. It means Buddhism has shown its impact on the language and literature. Just now I told you that Buddhists, the people, they developed the painting. Ajanta and other paintings and all that, you know that as it was given much importance for the painting, these people also are given importance. And these people have for the first time started construction of different religious monuments. You might have seen different religious monuments what were there in the Buddhism. The prayer hall of the Buddhism is called as Chaitya. Yes, many Chaityas were built. So Chaitya, it is a prayer hall. Then stupas they built. You know what is stupa, and we'll discuss detailedly about the stupas and all here. It is an off-egg shaped construction for the purpose of prayer. We might have seen here, this will be like this. Of course, detailedly we'll discuss. I'll show the photographs and all later to you. So stupas they built. And the Buddhist monks' residential places were called as viharas. Such a type of monuments are all new for the people of followers of Hinduism and all. When such a different monuments that they have constructed here, by seeing all these monuments, people were attracted towards the Buddhism. But at the same time, even in Buddhism also, differences have come. In following the Buddhism, the method what Buddha has shown, later the followers of the Buddha themselves, they did not accept with the method which was shown by one another. So as differences have come in the Buddhism, Buddhism was first divided into two as Hinayana and Mahayana. Of course, before that also differences have come, mainly Hinayana and Mahayana. Later it has divided into other divisions like Vajrayana, Tantrikayana, etc. etc. Divisions are there here. What were the differences? Here also a question might be asked here. What are the important divisions in the Buddhism? Say the basic differences in the these different sects what we have. So you have to study about the principles of Buddhism. You should know little about the Buddhist religious monuments, what they have constructed. At the same time, the basic divisions in the Buddhism like Hinayana, Mahayana, Vajrayana, etc. etc. and all. So on these differences also, or on these divisions also, a question can be asked. By the time of Ashoka, as he made as a religion of his own or religion for the people, or he propagated and all, who ruled majority part of this country, people of majority parts of this country also, they adopted the Buddhism, and Buddhism became as a major religion of this country. Many parts of North India as well as South India went under the influence of the Buddhism. But such Buddhism, by the time of medieval period, it lost importance. As you know, the present position of the Buddhism. The religion which became as an important one, or the religion of majority people of this country, whom they show interest to forget about Vedic religion and all, why they were not following. The religion which born in this country, yeah, you know that Buddhism has born in this country. The religion which born in this country is following in many Asian countries. But whereas the religion which born in his own country is disappeared. So there also a question can be asked. What were the causes for the popularity of Buddhism? Of course, this question was once asked in the previous questions of the Group 1 main. So what were the causes for the popularity of the Buddhism? How did it become very popular in this country? And what were the causes made the Buddhism to lost importance in this country or to disappear in this country? So similarly, what do you know about the Jainism, the principles of the Jainism? But Jainism, of course, comparatively with the Buddhism, little even now can be seen. Comparatively with the Buddhism, it is very tough. Though it is very tough, why the people are still following? They also reformed that. And here also two divisions have come, as Shvetambaras and Digambaras. As Digambara division is very difficult, people they forgot about that, and Shvetambara division of Jainism still can be seen. So here also you can identify, or you have to study the principles of Jainism as well as the divisions of Jainism, why it can be seen even in the present society and all. In such way, differences of this, the questions can be asked on Buddhism as well as Jainism, which all belongs to about the 6th century BC. In 6th century BC, Magadha was ruled by Haryanka dynasty. Later by Sisunaga dynasty. Later by Maurya dynasty. I'm sorry. Mauryas, Nandas they ruled. By deposing Nandas, Mauryas have come. And this period is very, very important for us to study. Mauryan history is very important. So regarding the Mauryas also many questions may be asked. What were the administrative or political conditions of the Mauryas? A question can be asked where you have to say about the administration and in what way administration was done. And to study about the administration, even the Kautilya's Ardhashastra is also helping for us. And Indica written by Megasthenes is also helping us. So administrative conditions, even the social conditions are the salient features of the Mauryan period. They may be asked, in which mainly they can ask about the Mauryan administrative system. Regarding the personalities, just now I told you very less that they are asking, but regarding Ashoka they can ask, that too particularly on Dhamma of Ashoka a question can be asked. The policy what he followed in propagating the Dhamma. Of course, some people they said that Buddhist principles only that he propagated and all. A question can be asked whether Buddhism and Dhamma is same or not. If so, what type of relation is there between Dhamma and Buddhism and all? Such a question also can be asked about the Dhamma, which is very, very important policy. Dhamma policy of Ashoka. Dhamma policy. At the same time, Mauryan, during the time of Mauryas also, majority parts of this country were ruled by one particular dynasty called Mauryan dynasty. Majority parts of India. So though it was such a dynasty which ruled majority part of the country, after Ashoka, decline has started for the Mauryas. Again, India was divided into small pieces and all. Here also a question can be asked, what were the causes for the decline of Mauryan Empire? That question, regarding the Mauryas, we have to see about the Chandragupta Maurya. We have to because the founder of him. Regarding the Ashoka, we have to study his achievements and all, as well as Dhamma policy, what he followed, mainly Dhamma policy and all. And after Ashoka, we have to study about the causes for the decline of Mauryan Empire. After the Mauryas, some foreign kingdoms were also there, in which one important kingdom was there, that is Kanishka's Kushan dynasty. So we have to study about Kushans. After the Mauryas, and during the time of Chandragupta itself or before to Chandragupta, the people have entered into this country like Greeks and all, they entered. Even Alexander also they entered. One question may be asked on Alexander also. Explain about the invasions of Alexander and impact of Alexander's invasion on Indian society. Even Alexander's invasions also have shown its impact. For example, till that period, Indians, they did not have the calendar. Of course, they had different types of methods and all, but not as a particular calendar system what Greeks have followed. That gave an idea for the Indians to follow a calendar system also. And some of the events which were happened before to Alexander, after Alexander also, we are comparing them with the date of Alexander's invasion on India. Along with Alexander, even some writers they came who wrote about the events of the Alexander invasions and all. So literature also here they started to write about the historical events of the country of that particular period. And at the same time, even some sculptors also came to this country who started sculpting their gods and goddesses, whom later settled here in this country and adopted Indian systems and all, or started worshipping of Indian gods and all, because of which by the time of Kanishka, a Greek sculptural style, of course I could not say only Greek, Indo-Greek sculptural style, which is called as Gandhara school of art. So when you want to study about the Kushans or particularly about Kanishka, you have to study about his administrative conditions and his patronage for the fine arts and all. Even during his period also, art and architecture was developed. So even constructed a city called Peshawar, which in those days called as Purushapura. Even he constructed some stupas also, it seems. And he too patronized Buddhism. And just now, as I told you, Gandhara school of art, especially sculptural school of art, was so developed during his period. Even a question can be asked on Gandhara school of art. What does it mean? Why it is called Gandhara school of art? What is the specialty of that? What is the theme that they have followed? What is the material that they have used? In such a way, a question also can be asked on Gandhara school of art. Because in ancient part of Indian history, three types of sculptural schools we have. One is Gandhara school of art. Second is Madhura school of art. And particularly about our Telugu region, Amaravati school of art. As Amaravati is our present capital, maybe a question can be asked about Amaravati's cultural school of art. So here we have to identify what are the differences between Amaravati school of art and Gandhara school of art. What are the differences between Madhura school of art? Of course, comparative study always will be good. So you have to compare, just not simply knowing about Gandhara, Madhura, or what type of sculpture style it was there, what differences that were there between Madhura school of art and Amaravati school of art. So in such a way that in Gandhara school of art we see mainly only individual sculptures of Buddha or about Kanishka, etc. Individual sculptures that we can see. The body of Gandhara sculptures are very strong as Greek people's body that they have. When you come to the Amaravati school of art, we cannot see individual sculptures more. Mostly they are all narrative stories we can see on the sculptures, which means on one particular stone we can see different sculptures. Buddha was sitting over there and some other people were surrounding him. Buddha making his teaching his theories and all, or his principles and all, or a king was going along with some other people. Are there different means narrative stories can be seen in Amaravati School of Art, but not there in the Gandhara School of Art. Even the stone what used there in the Gandhara is different. What the stone that they used in the Amaravati School of Art is also different. In such a way, different schools of arts or sculptural school arts are also can be asked. After Kanishka, Guptas were the people who are very important there in the northern part of the country. Parallelly to Kanishka, or after the downfall of Mauryas, there in the southern part of the country, Shatavahanas are very important for us. These Shatavahanas are important even as a part of Indian history, as well as we are studying for, they are preparing for the APPSC Group 1. These Shatavahanas are very important as a part of AP history also. So as a part of AP history also Shatavahanas are very important. As a part of northern part of the country or part of Indian history, Guptas were also very important. What were the cultural achievements during the time of Guptas, or what were the political achievements that they have achieved? What type of economic conditions were there? Other generally social conditions and all of the Guptas are also we can discuss. So Gupta's period is also a very important period in an ancient period, where some social change, religious change was also took place here. I told you that after Mauryas, again the northern part of the country was divided into small pieces. Now political unity was achieved by Guptas. So in that political issue also, Gupta's period is very, very important for us. Then at the same time, when you talk about the economic conditions, because of the divisions of the country, economic prosperity has somewhat come down. But again, as political unity that they have achieved, economic prosperity also that Guptas have achieved. So economic progress also that we can see, even in that sense also, Gupta's period is very, very important for us. At the same time, literature, when you talk about the literature, much literature was patronized here. Even during the time of Chandragupta II, 9 poets were there, or 9 scholars were there in his court, who were called as Navaratnas and all. Among one, even or Kalidasa was also there. And at the same time, education, as just not only the literature, education was developed, science and technology was developed, especially science and technology. You might have known that the iron pillar which you can see there in the Delhi in Mehrali, installed in the period of Chandragupta II, even now we can see, which is not at all rusted, though it belongs to 5th century. It means about 1500 years back that it was installed in an open area, though it was in the open area, it is not yet rusted. So the metallurgical knowledge of the Guptas also is very, very important for us, means progress that they have achieved. And when you talk about the religious issues also, I told you that by the period of Mauryas, Buddhism got its importance, which was continued even in the later period, and Buddhism became as a major religion during the country. But in the time of Guptas, again they revived the Hinduism. Importance has come for the Hinduism. Even people, I told you that they were forgetting about Hinduism, but these people have started writing about many books for the Hinduism. So many Puranas were also written during the time of Gupta's period and all. So the revival of Hinduism again we can see during the period of Guptas only. So really in religious matters also, this period is very important. They can ask, a question can be asked, if you say about the personalities, Samudragupta is very, very important personality who achieved political unity mainly. Of course, later it was continued by Chandragupta II also. So if you talk about the personalities, Samudragupta is very important personality for Gupta period, even Chandragupta II also. Then a general question can be asked here, the salient features of the Gupta period also can be asked. As just now I told you that political unity that they have achieved, socially they were progressed, literature was developed, economy was developed, science and technology was developed, medicine was developed. The famous Dhanvantari doctor belongs to this period. And Jyotisha was also, which means astrology was also developed, astronomy was also developed during this period. So science and technology, education, economy, polity and all, these are all in all the fields progress that these people have achieved. Some of the historians are very much interested to call this period as golden period. So a question can be asked on Guptas, why did that Gupta's period as golden period and all? What were the reasons for calling Gupta's period as a golden period? In such a way, a question can be asked. Regarding the Satavahanas also, the different conditions what we have during the period of Satavahanas, they can be asked. It means political, economical, social and all conditions what we have. And Satavahanas are considered as Andhra rulers or Telugu rulers and all. Even their name in the inscriptions of Mauryas were mentioned as Andhra Bhutyas. So Andhra, the word that we can see in the inscriptions of Maurya period and all. So these people are considered as the Telugu rulers and all. So during this period, how did they help for the Telugu? Or what are the political conditions during the period of Satavahanas and all, social conditions of the Satavahanas and all. Even during this period also literature was much developed. Of course not the Telugu as we have now. The beginning of the Telugu period that we can see as the Prakrut, in the name of the Prakrut, that they have developed. In Prakrut, a ruler called Hala himself wrote a book, Gada Saptasati. Of course, some people they say that it is compiled, collection of the stories from the different people and all. Whatever it might be, the credit went to Hala. So Hala's Gada Saptasati also can say about the social conditions or the other conditions of the Satavahana period. And during this period, not only literature, even art and architecture was also developed. Just now, already we have discussed about one sculptural school of art called Amaravati School of Sculptural Art. So sculptural school of art was developed, and even art and architecture was also developed during this period. Stupas, chaityas, etc., viharas and all were also they built. But here the notable difference is here, Satavahana's period was the period in the southern part of the country, again for the revival of Hinduism. So you may get a question, sir, just now you said that they have constructed many religious monuments. Yes, they had religious toleration. That is why they gave the equal position to the Buddhism along with the Hinduism or the Vedic religion. And one more important thing is most of the wives or the queens of this Satavahana period, they followed Buddhism. Means queens followed Buddhism, kings followed Vedic religion. Means they gave freedom to their queens to follow the religion of their choice, which means they have given importance, but they gave freedom for the women. Even you might have observed the names like Gautami Putra Shatakarni, Yagnasri Putra Shatakarni. Likewise, the mother's name that they had as their surname, that also can say that Satavahanas have given much importance for the women. In such a way, general conditions of the Satavahanas that they can be asked, and said and the service what they did for the Telugu or Telugus or for Andhra people, or the art and architecture what that they have, in which places that these people are developed the art and architecture that they can ask. And one more question as just now we discussed it, Amaravati School of Sculptural Art also can be asked regarding the Satavahanas and all. So in such a way different questions can be asked in Satavahanas. Whereas after the Guptas, one important king that we have there in the northern part of the country called Harshavardhana. So we have to study about the Harshavardhana and all. And Harshavardhana was also a person again gave importance for the Buddhism. There in the Gupta's period, just now I told you that the society has turned from the Buddhism to Hinduism. Here he is the person who gave the importance for the Buddhism, means from his Vedic religion to Hinduism. Of course, all Indian rulers, they gave the much importance, they gave the equal importance to all religions. What are the religions that they have followed, it doesn't matter to them. They have given equal importance for other religions, which means religious toleration that we saw in almost all the Indian rulers and all. So here also, Harshavardhana, though he followed Buddhist religion, he gave importance for the Hindu religion also. After the Harshavardhana, we can stop about the ancient part of Indian history, from which medieval period of Indian history starts. So, in South Indian history, after Satavahanas, if we have to discuss, what are the important dynasties that we have to discuss? Such as Satavahanas, we know they were very important as South Indian history, as well as even, of course, in the period of Indian history. As we are preparing for the Group 1 of APPSC, it is a part of AP history also, this is very important. What were the important periods that we have after the Satavahanas in the southern part of Indian history? Pallavas is a period very important for us. But what are the things that mainly we have to discuss in the Pallavas? Generally in the Pallavas, art and architecture is very important period. So the cultural contribution of the Pallavas to the Indian culture is very important aspect that usually they are asking the competitive examinations. So what cultural contribution that these people have made? Who are the important? Of course, Mahendra Varma, Narasimha Varma, etc., Nandi Varma, etc. Many rulers are there. Apart of the rulers, mainly questions are being asked about the cultural contribution of the Pallavas. Mainly, architecture was developed during this period. Of course, even painting was also developed, but very little. In architecture, what type of architecture that Pallavas have developed? The South Indian temple architecture was in fact developed by the Pallavas. That means Dravidian type of temple architecture was developed by Pallavas. So Dravidian temple architecture, which is a South Indian temple architecture, was developed by Pallavas. Here also, of course, different styles of temple architecture was there. Actually, during the time of Mahendra Varma, this temple style was started. So it is called as Mahendra Varma style. Then his son Narasimha Varma was also developed. As Narasimha Varma is also known as Mamalla, his temple style of architecture is called as Mamalla style. Then Narasimha Varma II or Rajasimha is also developed this temple style, whose temple style is called as Rajasimha style. Then Nandi Varma also developed, it is also called as Nandi Varma style. Sir, when 4 different rulers of the same dynasty, they developed the temples, why they called of different temple styles? See, in the temple architecture also, there are 2 important styles. One is structural architecture, another is rock cut architecture, which means if one particular stone is modified into a temple or an architecture, it is called rock cut architecture. Or if stone blocks that we used for the construction of a monument, it is called as structural architecture. So by using the stone blocks, we made an architecture. Here in the beginning of the Pallavan temple architecture style, that is in the period of Mahendra Varma and Narasimha Varma, they used rock cut architecture only. Sir, when both are used rock cut architecture, what is the difference again? Mahendra Varma followed cut-in type of architecture, which means by using a stone he made it into a cave. Inside the cave, many sculptures are engraved. So a temple was he constructed by using a simple one particular stone, making it as a hole or a cave. Whereas Narasimha Varma constructed a different style where outside of the stone that they chiseled. Of course, later while discussing about that, I'll show the photographs and all. Means it is a stone block, only the upper part that he chiseled, and this entire thing is removed here. So only the upper part that they removed and they made it as a temple. Whereas Narasimha Varma, he made a hole to the stone, he went inside, or the sculptors went inside, they made inside the part as a temple. So 2 different styles are there. The best examples are in Mahabalipuram, cave temples are there which belongs to Mahendra Varma's period, whereas the 5 pagodas which we can see on the seashore are called as Mamalla style or Narasimha Varma style. In the same place, even a structural temple is there which is popularly known as shore temple, which is called structural type of temples, Rajasimha's period. And in Kanchi, of course, many temples are there in which even Vaikunta Perumal temple and all were constructed by Nandi Varma. In such a way, temple style of constructions or the temple architecture, Dravidian style of architecture was started in the period of Pallavas. Pallavas have developed Indian culture and all, or the temple architecture was developed here. So mainly they ask about the temple architecture of Pallavas or contribution of Pallavas for the Indian culture. As a part of that, just now I told you that sculptures we can see, we can study here. Sculptural style also that we can study. The temple styles also we can see. And in the period of Mahendra Varma, even painting was also developed. So the painting style of the Pallavas also we can see. Painting, sculpture monuments. So the contribution that for Pallavas you can see. After the Pallavas, the important period in the southern part of the country was Cholas. When you study about the Cholas, again administration is very, very important. You may get a question, sir, did they serve for the culture or not? Yes, Indian culture was developed, patronized by these people. These people also have constructed many, many monuments, but most of them are structural temples only. The temple style, what was developed by these Pallavas, reached its peak, or it was so developed by the time of Cholas. The temples which were constructed by Pallavas were small temples, but Cholas they built very big temples. So keep the cultural assets aside for a minute. First, Cholas are very important for their administration. They had a strong army, no doubt. Their Indian culture was spread to the Southeast Asian part of the South Asia, whereas Java, Malaya, Sumatra, etc., the Indonesia present, what we are seeing, that Indian culture, especially South Indian culture, was spread to that area. These people have spread the South Indian culture, so they too did their contribution for the development of Indian culture. That is one side. Regarding the administration, these people have developed, established a very perfect administration, and the most important thing that generally in the competitive examinations, what they ask regarding the Cholas is local self-government. So these people have developed the local self-government. Regarding the local self-government of the Cholas, a question is being asked. So we have to study in general the administrative system what they had, and in what way that they have developed the local self-government and all. Regarding the Cholas, we have to study. And as a part of the continuation of Dravidian temple architecture, what were the important monuments that these people have constructed? What were the differences between this Pallavan architecture and Cholas architecture also, that we have to study. Especially the famous Tanjavur Brihadishwara temple was also constructed during this period, which was constructed 1,000 years back. Still now it is seen in a good condition, the best condition. And also, as it is in good condition, what the methods that they have followed, or other what important temples that they have constructed, the differences, and also cultural issues as well as administration we have to study when we study about the Cholas. When you come to the Telugu region here, we have to study about the different like Ikshvakus, Vishnukundins, etc., etc. As a whole, if we want to study about the South Indian history or the Indian history general, Kakatiyas, about Kakatiyas also we have to study. And after the Kakatiyas, we have to study about the Vijay. In Kakatiyas also, they may ask about the personalities like Ganapati Deva, even Rudrama Devi and all. Regarding the general conditions like economic, political, social and other conditions. In social conditions also, many changes took place there in the Kakatiyas and all, that we have to study. Then after Kakatiyas, we have to study about Vijayanagara. This Vijayanagara period also, both politically as well as culturally, very important for us. As Satavahanas is very important, Kakatiyas, and after that Vijayanagara is also very, very important. Of course, Vijayanagara Empire can be seen there in the Tamil Nadu, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh. But we consider Telugu, them as the Telugu rulers, especially in the time of Tulu dynasty and Krishnadevara and all. As you know, a popular slogan he gave, Desha Bhasalandu Telugu Lessa. Of course, whom it said first and all, it doesn't need it for us. But Krishnadevara also used that Desha Bhasalandu Telugu Lessa. As the Telugu people, we also give much importance for the Telugu dynasty called Vijayanagara dynasty or Vijayanagara Empire and all. Not Vijayanagara dynasty, I mean to say that Vijayanagara Empire was ruled by 4 dynasties, Sangama, Saluva, Tuluva and Aravidu dynasty. That Tuluva, during the time of Tuluva dynasty, especially in the period of Krishnadevaraya, much importance was given for the Telugus. There, Telugu literature was also much developed. Himself, Krishnadevaraya wrote a book, Amukta Maleda in Telugu, and there were 8 poets in his court called Ashtadigajas. About Ashtadigajas also a question can be asked. When you talk about the art and architecture, yes, this period is also very, very important for us. The South Indian temple architecture that started by the Pallavas reached its zenith by the time of Vijayanagara period. The aim of establishment of Vijayanagara Empire itself is to protect the Hinduism. So to protect the Hinduism, they constructed many, many religious monuments. And even they protected the religious monuments which were built earlier to the Vijayanagara period. Sorry. So they constructed the temples of their own style, which means the existing Dravidian style was developed by Vijayanagara rulers, and they also made the additions for the existing temples which were built to prior to them. So such type of architectural styles also we study during the Vijayanagara period. So their administration, expansion of the kingdom, their economic conditions, social conditions, and about religious conditions in which the monuments and all what they built in what way, a question can be asked during the Vijayanagara period. When we go for the northern part of the country after the Harshavardhana, Muslim rulers that they invaded on India. In the 8th century, Qasim invaded on India. Then in the beginning of the 11th century, Muhammad Ghazni invaded on India. He defeated many rulers, and he destroyed many monuments also, that too Hindu monuments also that he destroyed. Later Muhammad Ghori, he entered into this country and he conquered many places. After Muhammad Ghori, Delhi Sultanate has started. So Delhi Sultanate is also an important period we have to study there in the northern part of the country. And this Delhi Sultanate has ruled by 5 dynasties. As just now I told you that Vijayanagara Empire was ruled by 4 dynasties: Sangama, Saluva, Tuluva, Aravidu and all. Here 5 dynasties can be seen there in the Delhi Sultanate. They are Slave Dynasty, Khilji Dynasty, Tughlaq Dynasty, Sayyid Dynasty, and 5th one is Lodi Dynasty. So Delhi was ruled by, Delhi Sultanate was under the 5 dynasties called Slave Dynasty, Khilji Dynasty, Tughlaq Dynasty, Sayyid Dynasty and Lodi Dynasty. In what way the questions can be asked in these? In Slave Dynasty, a question can be asked: a ruler, a lady ruler, a woman ruler called Razia Sultana. In Khiljis, one important ruler was there called Alauddin Khilji. He was very famous for his administrative reforms. So some marketing reforms also that he made, administrative reforms also he made. So as personality wise, here we have to study about. And of course in Slave Dynasty, even Iltutmish, Balban and all were also there. But as I am telling that, Razia Sultana may be asked. In Tughlaq Dynasty also, Muhammad bin Tughlaq is there. He too very famous for administrative reforms and of course failures of his reforms and all. So that we discuss later. And in Sayyid Dynasty, much importance was not there for us. And in Lodi Dynasty, one important ruler that we have, he was called Ibrahim Lodi. Because of him, or during the period of him, the empire was occupied by Babur, with which Delhi Sultanate has completed, and one more dynasty was started, Islamic dynasty called Mughal Dynasty. Mughal Dynasty we have to study. In the Mughal Dynasty, not as it is only one. Here we said Delhi Sultanate, one empire or one particular place which was ruled by 4 dynasties. By the time of Mughals, slowly they occupied entire India or majority part of India. Here we have to discuss about 6 important rulers. So of course there in the Delhi Sultanate, one more thing is here, the political conditions of the Delhi Sultanate also can be asked, in what way the administration was there in general about in the Delhi Sultanate period. And these Delhi Sultans also patronized the art and architecture. So what cultural patronization that these people have made, that also we can, the question can be asked during the period of Delhi Sultanate. So general conditions of the Delhi Sultanate, then at the same time the patronization of art and architecture during the period of Delhi Sultanate also can be asked. In personality wise, just now I told you that in the Slave Dynasty, Iltutmish can be asked, Razia Sultana can be asked, Balban can be asked. In Khiljis, Alauddin Khilji is very important for us because of his administrative reforms, market reforms, etc., or economic reforms and all, military reforms of course. Then regarding the Tughlaq Dynasty, Muhammad bin Tughlaq is also very important ruler, about whose administrative reforms also can be seen. Very popularly made or known, Delhi to Daulatabad, what he changed, gold coins were replaced by the copper coins and all. Such reforms and all, why he made and all, whether they are correct or not according to him or not. But if though it are correct, why they were failed and all. These are all the things that we discuss, and question can be asked about such a things and all. So after Lodi's, Delhi Sultanate, India, or majority parts of India went into the control of Mughal kingdom. So who were the important rulers of the Mughal? One is Babur. Second is Humayun. Third is Akbar. Fourth is Jahangir. Fifth is Shah Jahan. And sixth one is Aurangzeb. Of course, from 1526 to they continued up to 1857, but these are the important rulers. After Aurangzeb, decline of Mughal dynasty has started. So these are the six important personalities regarding the Mughal empire or Mughal dynasty. But here most important people are Akbar and Aurangzeb, who ruled a lot of period. Of course, even the remaining period also some changes are there. Babur ruled very little period. He concentrated only on the expansion of the kingdom, so he may not be so important. One important thing is he wrote a book called Tuzki-Babri. So Tuzki-Babri may be asked, in which he wrote about the memories of him while he was there in India. So what the memories that he had, or what did he see there in India and all, such things that we can see in that particular book called Tuzki-Babri can be asked. Humayun, unfortunately, of course, his meaning of his name was very fortunate, but he was very unfortunate. So we may not expect much about the Humayun. But whereas Akbar was a person who ruled a long period, about 50 years that he ruled. As he ruled a long period, expansion of the country that he made, second is good administrative system or some administrative reforms he made, economic progress that he achieved. As economic progress achieved and political stability was there, he gave patronization for the art and architecture also. So here when you study about the Akbar regarding the administration, a question can be asked. The policy what he followed, religious policy also that he followed. The most important thing is Akbar gave equal importance to all the religious people. This question or this thing that I said when we were discussing about the Hindu native rulers. Of course, here also Akbar was such a person who treated all the people equally, who gave equal importance to all the people. So as he gave importance to all the people, he too got the support of the native people. So as he got the native people's support, peaceful administration was possible there in the country. So political stability and peace and harmony there in the society was there. Economic progress also as he achieved, it gave chance for the development of art and architecture. During his period, painting was developed, sculpture was developed, and architecture, many monuments also that he built, including that Agra Fort and Fatehpur Sikri or Buland Darwaza, what you say. So architecture was developed, painting was developed, both art and architecture that patronized by him. So these administrative reforms also, as bandobast system and all, or this revenue systems and all, many that changes it took place. So regarding the administrative reforms, a question can be asked. Regarding expansion of the kingdom, a question can be asked. Or the patronization of art and architecture in general about the Mughal period or about the Akbar period also can be seen. Here a comparison also sometimes can be made regarding the Aurangzeb and all. Of course, before that we'll discuss in brief about the Jahangir, what happened all. Jahangir also wanted to make administrative reforms and all, but he did not concentrate much on the administration. In the beginning of his career, he was much interested. Later, when Nur Jahan entered into his life, administration was done by Nur Jahan. He did not concentrate much on the administration and all. But during his period, art was patronized. Painting was much developed. Himself is a painter, where he gave much importance for the painting. During the period of Shah Jahan, architecture was developed. To be frank, Shah Jahan's period can be called as a golden period for the Mughal architecture. Many monuments that he built. The notable things, as you know, the Taj Mahal, the famous Taj Mahal that he built, the Red Fort also that he built, or in front of Red Fort, Jama Masjid or Zuma Masjid was also built. In such a way, many mosques, the fort and the palaces and all that he built. Shah Jahan's period can be considered as a golden period for the architecture. This was not acceptable for Aurangzeb because he said that simply you are wasting the money of the people for the sake of your personal ambition. And painting, dance, music, etc., according to him, were not so acceptable for the Islam. So when Aurangzeb became as a ruler of this country, he stopped patronization of music, painting, dancing, etc., and all. And he did not want to construct huge monuments and all, because by the time of Shah Jahan itself, the money of the empire or the income of the empire, huge that he invested for the construction of these monuments and all. So he stopped the construction of big monuments and all. Painting, music, etc., they were not so patronized by him. And at the same time, the policies what followed by Akbar were reversed here. He gave equal importance for the Hindus. He did not so much. Of course, some Hindu officers were there in his administration, that is different, but he did not give that much importance as Akbar gave and all. So such differences we can take during the period of Aurangzeb and Akbar. So what the policies that Akbar has followed, what the policies that Aurangzeb has followed. I told you that though it was continued from 1526 to 1857, only these important, that is up to 1707, means the end of the Aurangzeb, it is very important. So say 1526 to 1707 is very important for the Mughals period. Later, decline of the Mughal empire has started. So there also we have to study the causes for the decline of Mughal empire. One is the administration. On the administration of the Mughal empire, a question may be asked. On the patronization of art and architecture, Mughal architecture particularly, a question may be asked. And a causes for the decline of Mughal empire also can be asked, and particularly on the Aurangzeb, how far he was caused for the decline of Mughal empire, a question can be asked. So regarding the personalities, Akbar can be asked, Aurangzeb was also can be asked. Such a way, this period is also very important there in the medieval period of Indian history. Thank you.